Hello, everyone. Welcome you all on board with us for the episode 3 of Hope Stories, Stories of Hope and Change, Project Impact, an initiative by I for Peace. I am Priya Sitaraman, your host for the day, and we have with us on board Ms. Shadi Afham. Thank you so much, Shadi, for doing this Hope Story podcast with us. The podcast is all about we're trying to bring in some change, some hope, and people who are going to watch us live or who are going to watch later. And it's kind of an effort to bring in change in the community, in the society. That yeah, there exists hope. So it's all about motivating each other, and this is Mental Health Awareness Month. We are in May, and this is our initiative by I for Peace. And this is episode 3. Over to Shadi. Welcome you on our episode 3 of Hope Stories. Thank you for doing this. Shadi is the country chair of Holistic Wellbeing Wing of G100. G100 is a global women leader group initiated and founded by Dr. Harbin Arora Rai. And over to Shadi, and she's also a holistic health coach. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to help alongside you with and many others to bring hope to those around us and to inspire them to be able to go through their struggles and through their hardships, because that's the normal way and the path of life. And if we are together and we have each other's back and we listen to each other's stories, I think it gives us the inspiration that, you know, it's there's always a hope and there's always an opening that we can get through whatever it is.
Yeah. We, as you rightly pointed out, we are there for each other. We need to support and uplift each other so that we keep going and come out of our struggles. And yes, there exists hope.
Yes.
Shadi, would you like to tell us about how have been your childhood days, your growing up years, and I presume you're from Iran. And how did you you live in Canada now? You're settled in Canada, and do you want to go over with us for the viewers about your
Sure.
life journey?
So I was born in Iran, and we well, right around the revolution of Iran, back in 79, 80, my father and mother decided for us to leave Iran. So at the age of around 5 or 6, we decided to leave Iran, and you know, we went to Athens, Greece for a year, and from there we migrated to Canada. And for years we spent there, obviously. And at that time, for people to know, Canada back in those days, there weren't that many Iranians. So it was really, well, we were kids, but it was really hard for my mother because my father's business was mostly in Iran and Europe. So we would barely see him. So it was hard not to have him around, and for my mom as well. And we landed in Montreal, and then we came to Vancouver. And for years we spent there, and we would go back and forth to Iran visiting the family. But pretty much, you know, I grew up there. And well, at that time I was young, but I remember the struggles of my mother as a woman and how she had to deal with it. So it wasn't just my own, but also her and what she had to go through being as a single mom, kind of. Having 3 girls at that time and not really knowing how to speak English and struggling, and her own, fears of being away from the family. And the revolution happened. So things weren't great in Iran as well. So always worried. However, we did go back to Iran. We would come, go. And at one point, while we were there, we got caught up in the war between Iran and Iraq. So I, as a kid, also remember the struggles of the bombing and the alarms and everything. So, having to run. And I think it's, in a way, people might think, okay, at the end of the day, I wasn't sick, I wasn't depressed, but, to be as a child and go through wars like so many countries are going through, it was hard, right? Because you think at that time you have the fear, but I think as you grow older, those fears and insecurities stay with us. And it gives us, and it stops us from wanting to do so many things, right? As you grow up.
In that traumatic, experience. I mean, people go through post-traumatic stress disorder too. It's not easy. Yes.
No, it's not. I mean, I explain the situation right now for friends and family, but as a little kid hearing the alarm in the cities go and you running undercover with parents and not knowing, as a kid, if you're alive or dead. And I think what happens is as you grow older and as I've become more aware and studied these fields, I now know where the sources have come, all my fears, all my insecurities and doubts about myself, about my career, about my life, about moving forward. It all comes back from there, right? And I'm always worried, what if something happens, So it might not be that there's no war in, let's say, in Canada, or I move back and forth between Paris, but I'm always worried. So we went through those days there. And then at one point, when around 13, 14, my mother has gone through a lot. She lost her brother while she was in Canada, never got to say bye. Then she my younger uncle got into an accident, so paralyzed from his waist down. Then she lost her mother to cancer. She lost her father. And so, and every time I would see her as a kid, my mom in her room alone, crying and struggling, yet she didn't want to talk about it. But these are all there, right? These are all there. And she had no choice. She had no say as a woman. This is what you have to do. You take care of the kids, you stay there. And then at the age of 14, pretty much, my father mostly decided that we have to move back to Iran. So that was another culture shock going back at that age. And you can imagine being raised in Canada, you're free, right? You brought up free to live the way you want. And now you're going back to a country where you're suppressed as a woman. You have no right to talk. You have no right of freedom. You have no right to just be yourself. And well, my father decided that we need to stay there. And I guess now I understand for my mom, maybe she had no choice being away. But, for us just being there and being brought up in that country, again, you don't know what the results are later on in life, but you've learned to suppress, you've learned to be quiet, you've learned not to talk, to stand up for yourself, right? And the depressions my mom also went through as she was in Canada, and then coming back and losing these family members one by one, and then going back to the school system over there, you're completely covered. At that age, you don't understand why, right? You've been brought up. So then we were there, and then I actually went to university there. I went to because we had no right to leave, right? My father was very controlling in that way, that he wanted us to be there as girls, until 2000, when I decided that I just want to leave the country, and I came back. But again, we talk about hope, and when being there as a kid and not having your right at that age of a teenager, I couldn't just get up and decide to leave, so you lose hope. You lose hope you lose your all your perspectives you had in life, all the hopes you had, you thought they're shattered, right? Because this is my life now. And the other thing is, then you move back to Canada. And at that point, when I moved, I was almost 23, 24, and I still felt like I had no hope, even though I was in Canada, but my life was kind of shattered because I was so behind in everyone and I was lost. And then the childhood, our culture, everything was piled up. So you kind of had no security. You felt insecure. You felt a lot of fear of, where am I going to do? What am I going to do that? But something, I think it's just somehow I was always lucky to have my mother was always there, and friends were always there. And I think, I learned to start believing in myself through lots of, help, whether it was help from friends, whether help from professionals, mostly professionals, a lot of consultants and a lot of counseling and everything, just to be able to just accept myself, to understand who I am as a person, and that I am enough, that I can do anything and I can achieve. And it took years, and I think it's an ongoing process for all of us to be able to work on that, right? Because I think we all come from some sort of fears, insecurities from childhood, from culture, from generations passed on to us, beliefs and all that. So I think it takes a lot to work on it. But I believe that, if we can just allow ourselves to open up to wanting, I think, to take that step, it makes a big difference. And I'm saying, and I know that, when you compare different scenarios, obviously, some might look at me and say, well, this is not a problem, right? But it's not always has to be like a physical, to understand, it's not like, God forbid, like a physical abuse or something. I believe that, what I've gone through as well, and so many are going through, especially in certain countries and around the world, like, Iran and others that are so suppressed. The women have no right, no choice. And as everyone knows what's going on in Iran right now, women are standing up for their right. But I think mentally, it's so much deeper, and the wounds are so much deeper, and it takes a lot of of determination and courage to get out of that situation where you're in, and to just try to open up your heart and reach out for help. And I think that's what we need to do. And I think especially women need to understand it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to want help. It's okay to reach out. It's okay to get help. There's no shame in that. I went through years and years of counseling, and I had when I moved back to Canada, I had a marriage, and it didn't work out, and it was, went through divorce. And so, it was a shame. It was a shame at the beginning for me to be able to think of separation and divorce, but it all comes back to, as a woman, it's not good to be divorced. It's not good to be that. All these, things that have passed on in me, and it's been printed in my brain. It took a while to just say, it's okay. What I want is my inner peace, my inner happiness. And I think that's when I started believing in that it's okay for me to ask for help and to get it, because, I am enough as I am. I just want someone to help me, just to kind of pull me a little bit more forward, just to get me up, and then I get moving.
Yeah, we all need that extra effort and help from the professionals, as you said, pointed out. Very, very apt, what you coined as abuse is not only physical. There is emotional abuse, there is mental abuse, each and every one of us go through. It comes from everything. A lot of it that you have gone through from your childhood days, the place where you are right now, having achieved and attained in this position. It takes a lot of courage and strength. And what has been your motivating factor when you look back? Yes, you always like, I'm proud of myself, and then giving a pat on your back, and what you have gone through, that is always a motivating thing to not give up and keep fighting, and just trying to overcome every other day. And to others, maybe whatever. So you've gone through a lot, different stages of life, from the struggles that you have seen as a child, the PTSD, what we are talking about, it stays in your mind. It's deeply imprinted, the trauma, it's not easy. And after having to go through breakup and the marital relationship, and again, it kept pushing you back. And how did you lift yourself up? What has been your motivating factor?
I think it took, I think a lot of it was working on myself, but I think a lot of it was also, my motivation was looking at others, so instead of always looking at the negative aspects and seeing myself and the situation I'm in, that, this is it, look at me, I'm always like that, I'm depressed, I'm down. I think what really helped me was the shift that, well, look at this other, leading woman in the world, or other women who are helping others in the world. And I think that became an inspiration to me, that if she can do it and she can do it, then I can do it. And I think that was a starting point, that it inspired me to be that. So, and I think it shifted things in me, that when I looked up to these women in the world, and it wasn't just about success or some powerful, businesswoman, it was just different women. And I didn't look at them as, let's say, one would be like a very successful businesswoman. I didn't look at it wasn't the success part. It was her standing up strong and fearless of believing in herself. That's the point I looked at. Then there were other women in the world who were just they're there to help others. And so what I wanted to do was, I knew what I had gone through, and I think I got to a point where I was like, okay, now I'm at a position where I want to do it for others. And so my background actually was, I did my MBA and I studied international business because I always wanted to work with my father. And that's another thing. Like, for me, I think I always wanted to just be that man, the strong this. So I went into business and I was doing all these male kind of dominant things. And it's fine. It gave me great experience in life to work in it. But at the end of the day, I shifted, and my background then went into my passion, which was health and fitness and nutrition and all that. And that's another reason all my life I've been into fitness and health. So it inspired these women, I think, shifted my perspective. And then they inspired me that I can be like them, and I can look back and help others behind me who are struggling like me, And if I now know that, I don't want to be here and I've struggled, maybe I can help someone at a younger age than I did, because I learned this, pretty much later in my life. And they always say, it's never too late. Yeah. But I thought, well, why not start getting out of this situation? It's like a hole instead of digging that hole, why not climb up, and try to inspire those younger ones and the younger generations, especially those who have gone through the same struggles, and whether they have the same cultural problems that I have had, or or whether it's just situation wise, like they could be in their careers or in their families, and this is how it shifted. But I think it was mostly looking at other women who were inspiring for me, and I wanted to be like them and do the same thing that they're doing for others.
Yeah, it's so beautifully that you have shared about it's not about only the success. We look up to some people, male or female, or even from small little things, that we keep looking out for some inspiration that can motivate us, that can give us a lot of strength. It could be anything. Just always have that open mind, as you're rightly pointing it out, like open mind to not give up. That's the whole point, right? What we are talking about,
Exactly.
coming from diverse backgrounds and having gone through a lot of struggles, lot of abuse, or it could be anything. It's not only have to be violence and abuse in physical form. It can be, what you have gone through as a trauma, or people who are going through divorce in such, in those times, how they tend to, live in those moments of pain and trauma, that it is so traumatizing, right? And what you're trying to say is, just look up to something. It can be anyone, anything, any object. It can be any people around you, right? And that keeps give us that extra little push to.
Yes, exactly.
That's the end of the day. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah, and I think, cutting out that negativity, whatever brings you that negativity, it can be a simple thing like a song, a book, all the way to a person, or to a word, to a sentence. And I'm not saying to be rude and to be, arrogant, but just to shade away from them slowly, put it aside, and start doing more positive things, and be around more positive people, inspiring people, read more inspiring books, and spend some time with yourself. I think that's the most precious things of just being alone. It reminds you of so many things around you, right? To be appreciative of who you are and what you have. Life with all its struggles, it still can be so beautiful. And it's the way we shift our perspective of how we look at it. At the end of the day, we have to do the work ourselves. We have to want it, and then the help will come.
Yeah. Having that thing, if you can't help yourself, nobody else is
Yes,
going to. So that's the
exactly.
first step. Self-awareness is the key to everything. That's the first step. And being mindful about, if you're not aware of yourself and your emotions, and you won't be able to reach to the next step or the place where you want to, you won't understand yourself. So that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
So what does your daily life look like? What are your stress releasing techniques, or what do you bring it on to you in your day-to-day life?
I think, we all, like, for me, from childhood, fitness has always been a big help for me. And, and then later on in my 20s, late 20s, I started doing on and off meditation. But I think the biggest thing for me was fitness. It really helped me survive through those tough days, because that's where, when I would go, and it could just be a walk. And when I say fitness, it can be a walk, it can be a run, a swim, it can be going to the gym, just any kind of activity. I think it takes your mind off whatever you're thinking of, whatever is pulling you down, whatever is making you depressed. And I think, science and all these research has proved that, activity and being active and being like into fitness, it helps us a lot. And I think that was the biggest thing that I'm so happy that from childhood it's been a part of me, and maybe that was what has helped me get through. It really helped me because it was alone time. It was me, and then at the beginning it was just listening to my favorite music and doing a workout and everything. But I think, and then later on I learned about meditation. I always knew it, but I was an on and off thing. And I think it's funny because it happened in such later years in my life. It's been recent that I've been really, every morning I've been really persistent on it. I'm determined. And it's a part of my daily routine. And if I don't have the time, or if I've, struggled and I cannot sleep, or I have a lack of sleep, even 5 minutes will do the job. And I really recommend it to everyone. And again, it's all the alone time you're having, and it's not about, and this has nothing to do when I talk about meditation and stuff or even gym, of being, obsessed with it. And you've got to go every day, we do a heavy workout. No, you can go for a nice walk by the water. You can go in the nice park in nature, and meditating and it's not about, again, religion or, praying in that. It's just about just shutting your eyes and just focusing on nothing. Because I think our minds 24/7, even in our sleep, we're not having that deep sleep because it's constantly thinking. So I think these two were a big, had a major impact in my life. And I do it now. I've learned how to do it. So the moment I feel, I'm stressed over something, whether it was something someone said or a situation, we're all running into dead ends at some point, or that's how life is. I mean, we think it's dead end, but it is to our best, of course, but we don't understand it at that moment. I really just walk away. So whether it's a person that's talking, whether I'm on a phone call, whether it's something that I'm reading, a document, I just walk away. I walk away and I go for a walk, or I just close my eyes and just take some time to me until I can go back to it. And I think it really helps to overcome, and it helps you at least not get deeper into whatever it is, because then when you don't have that, then you get deeper and eat deeper. And unfortunately, then, we become depressed, we become, unmotivated, and we lose hope of what is there for us,
Sometimes, I mean, I still feel sometimes, okay, you don't have to be very perfect to be who you are, or to define who you are. Or sometimes you can be just without doing anything, just do nothing. And pull out, as you said, walk away from the things which has been bothering. It could be things, it could be the situation, it could be people. So happiness is lying within you. And that's
Exactly.
inside of us. Nobody is able to, nobody can or take it away from us or even try to give us. So we can't define that happiness or being with peace with yourself. That's the
Yeah.
first key in my experience. And from what you have shared beautifully about keep yourself grounded and at the same time just walk away from what bothers you and look for inspiration. Look for
Yes.
inspiration so that it uplifts you, not for doing something extraordinary or just doing try to do out of the way, or just keep yourself peaceful.
Yes.
That's what we are
Exactly.
talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
And for young women, youth, male or female, what will be your insights or advice, suggestions, anything as a coach? What would you want to give us? Because they are the future leaders.
Yeah. I think I think like the same. I think for all of us, even at our age right now, I think it's again, um, you have to follow your gut. You follow what you feel makes you good. And unfortunately, in today's society and the world, we're so obligated to do certain things, whether it's our profession, whether it's our life, career. It's like, you're kind of, you go into certain things for certain other reasons other than what brings you peace. And I think, to find that inspiration, I think we all kind of need a mentor, and that can be anyone. It can be your best friend, it can be your counselor, it can be your doctor, it can be your mother or father, I don't know. But I think what I mean mentor is that you have to feel good, that energy that you get from them, and for them, then you get that inspiration from them. Because if you have some positivity in your life, then it inspires you to become better, a better person within, grow, not better in terms of, growing in terms of success. Those are all the side, and it's great to have it, but I think if you are not happy within, then all the things that come into your life, whether it's a a career, a promotion, they're all temporary. At the end of the day, they're all temporary. And unfortunately, we get stuck into it, and then we had these drawbacks. And then you achieve it, whether it's a title, a status, a promotion, all of those things, and then what? So I think, if we find a mentor, if we find someone who inspires us, and it's hard. Sometimes it could be someone that you cannot have access to. Read their books, listen to them, and I think read more about what they've done to achieve this and follow their paths. But at the same time, don't just do it because someone has introduced that person to you. Don't read it because they've introduced that book to you. You have to connect with that people. And I think the best thing in today's world is, time is precious. So, surround yourselves with great things, with great people, with inspiring people, be more active, take care of your body, because we are holistic at the whole thing, take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your, spirituality. And then that way you're taking care of your soul, because at the end of the day, we have to be in path with our soul, right? So if we can learn to look at ourselves as a whole and not just, go for a workout, but come back home and start thinking or be depressed. No, you gotta take care of your whole self, and give love to yourself and inspire yourself, because I think who we are all individuals, and each one of us is different from another, and we have to be. So there's no two people in this world who are the same. So we each bring something to this world, and every single person has something that the other doesn't. So that itself should be inspiring for others. And the interesting thing, I think, is that at the times when we think we are nothing, we are nobody, or I even believed myself at one point, I could not inspire anyone, but there is someone out there that I am an inspiration to them.
Yes.
So even, I think this is great for everyone to know, those young girls and boys out there, you're always going to be an inspiration to someone younger than you, someone that you may never know, right? They look up to you, they follow you. And it could be just something small that you're doing, whether you're on this, whether you're in a school, whether you're active in a social media, there's something that will be inspiring. So I think that, yeah, to find a mentor, to find something that inspires you, but at the end of the day, follow your heart, always feel good about what you're doing, whatever it is, whether it's school, whether it's sports, whether it's business, everything, whatever it is, just follow your gut. I think they will never lie, right? If you try to trust it, then you will always know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always good to listen to you, Shadi, and I'm so blessed. I'm so truly grateful to have been connected with you. I think it was a divine connection, as I always say, and it's always been. Every time I talk to you, I mean, there is something that you share. As again, you pointed out so rightly that this is one other example that we are with the hope that we are trying to bring in some kind of, there is somebody out there who was watching us live or who's going to watch us later, that some messages are going to inspire them, motivate them, not just give up and come what may. Your struggle, everyone is going through some other struggle. So just don't give up.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
message that we are trying to bring in through these talk shows as a effort and initiative. And we have a long way to go, and we have a lot of work to go
Yeah, yeah.
together. Yeah, I'm so
But
looking forward.
I mean, you are an inspiration as well. Like I'm saying, just to be able to provide this platform for people to connect and, for people to reach out and this is why I'm saying, and I think for younger generations behind us, it's what I was telling, to know that, what, for them, you are probably that inspiration, that, wow, look at her, she's got it, a YouTube channel, she's reaching out to, she's trying to do something, for this world. And I think this world has, it's unfortunately the way it is, and not saying bad things, but it's lacking humanity, where people just have empathy for one another, instead of putting each other down, just reach out your hand and help, just with no expectations. And I think what you're doing is inspiring for many, and I'm sure that people who are watching, they will, and and I think there's a timing for everything. Maybe the people who are watching your lives and or reviews and everything else you have on social media, one will connect, one not, which is fine. But I think if they keep continuing to listen and reach out, that timing of theirs, they will connect with one of it, right? But it's great, and I thank you as well for being there, because I think as you're doing, everyone around us needs to know that, whether young or even older generations, that there's someone there. Not everyone comes out across as not wanting to help. If you look good enough, there will always be someone to help you out if you reach out your hand and ask for it, always.
And it, again, empathy or being helpful or being kind is, you don't have to just go an extra way to be an empath. It can be just a little share about what some good things that you come across in your day-to-day lives, your whatever. It can be of help to somebody else. Just be there. Like a support. It can be, very small little steps that you can bring out in your life, so that you are inspiring. You are helping others through your act, through your acts of words, or any kind of random acts of kindness that we always say. It can help many people, right?
Exactly.
You never know. Yeah,
exactly. And I think a lot of people just want someone to listen, because you can hear people, but not necessarily you're really listening to them, putting yourself in their shoes. And I think, your platform is great, that people can just call in or send a text and just talk, just let it out. And there will always be someone listening to you, and understanding you, even if they cannot do anything at that moment, they're with you, right?
Yes. With immense gratitude to you, Shari. And as I said, we look forward to many works that we have lined up.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you all. Thank you again. for coming on board with us to share your story. It's never
you.
easy. It's not easy at all to be able to talk on this public platform and having to share about the struggles. It has been very, very painful. And so it's not about reliving, and it's about giving that hope to somebody else who is
Yes.
currently going through that kind of pain. It acts as a a motivating factor for them to be able to, oh yes, she has done it, and yeah, there is hope. That's
Yes,
the
exactly.
yeah.
And that's what we are. And as you said, I mean, the whole point of this live and platform is just like you know, if anybody, always we're a team, we're all a group together. So, you know, we're here for everyone. And I think that's what the whole point is, to let them know that in any field, you know, we've come together as a group to help others in different various fields. And it's just a matter of, you know, being there for them and knowing that if they need it, you know, we're here to support them.
Yeah, thank you again. Thank you all who are going to watch us later and who has been watching live, and be there to support and keep sharing to people around you in your network, in your family and friends, so that it can be an inspiration to somebody, and especially the youngsters, the youth of tomorrow. And if you have a story to share, if you feel that you have something to share it with the world, do connect with me, and we are all yours, and we will take you on board with us. Stay tuned till we come back next episode on Hope, Stories of Change. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.